Hey guys, just wanted to do a real quick, well, maybe not so quick, tackle talk. A few things I'm catching fish on right now. I mean, it's been an insane last week or 10 days that I've just been hammering them, and some big ones too. And then some baits that are my favorites that you need to try, and then some new stuff that I've got for this year for you to check out. So stay tuned, it'll be good.
He's gonna catch some toads. You're watching Predator Bass Fishing with Danny Rhodes. Whether he's ripping lips or unboxing it, he's doing everything under the sun. And you can catch it all here on Predator Bass Fishing.
All right, guys, let's get into this. Stuff I'm catching on right now. We had a warm day. It's probably been, I'm trying to think what day that was. If it was last week, it may have been. It's maybe only been like 5 or 6 days, but I've been going every day. And the first night it was like 63 degrees, and I took my daughters to this little park, and there's a lake there by our pond, and so I was throwing this Strike King Premier spinnerbait, and man, I love these things. White's not typically my favorite, but this time of year, I like white. A lot of times the bait fish and the fish are, they don't have that color like they normally have in the summer. So they're pale sometimes, but I think it looks like a lot of, little group of 2 or 3 fish swimming together, running away. And what I did was I'd reel it in and pause, reel it in and pause. And when it pauses, this would kind of check up a little bit too, and then it would start going and just kind of look like it's running away from people. But for years, fishing spinnerbait, running away from people, running away from the fish. So, but for years, what I would do with the spinnerbait was I'd just chuck it out, straight retrieve every time, try to keep it nice and smooth the whole time. Never did any pauses or twitches or anything with it. And, started watching some videos, and it's like, man, these guys are, adding a lot of stuff to it. Matt Stefan, he's like, make sure you're adding twitches and stuff like that. So I started doing it, and it works. So, I mean, the straight retrieve worked good for me too for a long time. I feel like I was very successful with spinnerbait. But man, you add a pause in there just for a second, or, it's the same way with, I was watching the indie yak angler tonight. If you've never watched him, you need to watch him. He just hammers smallies all the time, but he'll get twitchy with a chopo or a whopper plopper, and he doesn't do it like most people. He'll pull it and then reel, pull it, reel, and he's real erratic. Sometimes he's almost too fast with it, but he's just mixing it up where if a fish sees it, they're gonna eat it better maybe than a straight retrieve. So stop it every once in a while. The same with the spinnerbait, chopo, whopper plopper. I mean, anything. That's probably why a worm is so enticing. It's, doing all kinds of stuff down there that is triggering a reaction strike. So anyway, spinnerbait doing great right now. And then this isn't what I've been throwing, but my boss gave me that. Rattle traps right now, lipless crankbaits. I mean, they are, it's killing it for me right now. This one I'm throwing, I mean, I don't know how much the color is making a big deal, but it's got a custom paint scheme on it, and they're eating it. And I've probably caught 7 4 to 5 pounders, and today I had one. I mean, it's only been like 50. It was 60 that one day. It's been getting into 30s at night, low 30s, maybe high upper 20s. So the water's still not, it's got to be in the 30s still. But I reeled this rattle trap by this group of, like, it was almost like some new moss forming. There's some new moss at this pond, which I guess that tells you the water is warming up some, but it couldn't have been a foot deep. And I reeled it by this thing and paused it for a second, and this 4-pounder comes out and smacks that thing. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was up on a big dock, and I kind of got him, and he was done, and I reeled down to him. It had actually came out of his mouth and caught the tip of his gill, and I reeled all the way down to it and kind of shook it, and it just came right off, and then he swam off. And I didn't get any video of it, of course, but it was awesome. And then one of the other ones I caught the other day at this other place, I was reeling over this weed line where the drop off kind of goes, and I couldn't have been more than like 6 inches deep, maybe a foot top. I don't even think it was. I'd guess closer to 6 inches. Well, this fish comes up and smacks it. If you've seen one of my latest videos, he's got like a melanosis spot on his back and a couple little spots on his tail. He was a pretty cool looking fish, but probably an 18, 19 incher. And I think he would have hit a topwater bait coming over that stuff because it was so close to the top of the water. It was just like, wow, this is unreal. But when you get these lakes and ponds that are, 3 foot deep, a lot of the way, I mean, they're gonna eat stuff. They might hit topwater when it's in the water temps in the 30s still, if they're hungry enough and they're feeding enough. But anyway, whopper plopper, rattle trap, man, is killing it. And if you're not fishing yet, you need to get out there because, I'm doing the same thing with that. I'm just reel, stop, reel, stop, reel, stop. Pull, reel, pull, reel, pull, reel. And there's a lot of weeds at this one place where I've been going, so I can't let it sink too much. I've got to keep it going. Sometimes I'm even pull, reel, pull, reel, and trying to just keep reeling the whole time where I'm keeping it, within a foot and a half of the top, maybe 2 feet at the most. But, man, caught a 4.7 and a 4.5 the other day. I mean, I don't think I've ever caught two. Not very many times have I ever caught 2 4s in the same trip. So a 4.5 and a 4.7. And I don't know if I trust my scales. I mean, they look like giants to me. It's like, if I was just guessing, I know I would have called them both 5s. But on that note, Derek and Corey just bought these scales, and I just got these today for Valentine's Day from my wife. So they're pretty nice. You clip on, and I think this scale clips into this on the side. But when you hook the fish on, you can just pull that scale down to his tail, and then the top, where his mouth is, it shows, and you'll be like, up. We did it. Me and Derek did it at the pond the other day, and it was like 16 and a half, and it was a 2.5 pounder. Of course, he gets home today and tried it on a barbell, like a 5-pound kettlebell, and it said 4.9, 4 pounds 9 ounces. And I don't know if it's 4.9 or 4 pounds 9 ounces. I'll have to look. I haven't used this scale, but mine says like 4.70, and I would just assume that that's like 4 pounds 9 ounces basically, or 10 ounces because it's a little over, or 11 because it's almost 4.75 would be 412. But anyway, he said his said 4.9. So anyway, if it's 4.9 pounds, that's close to 5 pounds. If it's 4, am I crazy here? Yeah, if it's 4.9, yeah, it could be 4.90 or 4 pounds 9 ounces. That's what I was getting at. My brain quit working for a second. The older I get it, the more that happens. Hopefully that's not a sign of something. But anyway, this is pretty cool. $23 Amazon. So kind of excited about that. My other one just had the hook, and I'm sitting there trying to, get that little hook through his thing, and that'd be way better for tournaments and crap. We'll just clamp them on there. They're not getting away. You hold the thing, boom. So that's cool. Derek caught one on a jig. I mean, this is something else you want to be using right now. This is kind of transitioning into, what I've been throwing. I think chatterbaits would work right now. I want to try this clickbait, Guggen Squad clickbait at the place where I've been going and catching them. Looks like a bluegill, that color pattern. And those Guggen Squad clickbaits do not fall. So if you're fishing somewhere with weeds, I mean, that sucker stays within a foot of the top. I mean, you could stop for a second and it's not gonna, they just stay right on the top there. And they make a little clicky, you know, with the beads and crap there on the top. So definitely gonna give that a try. But Derek caught a nice one, 2.5 pounds on his scale, might have been a 3-pounder, on a jig from Catch 'em Tackle. And I think he had a crawl trailer that was from Catch 'em Tackle. We know the guy that owns the company or part owner of the company. This is a Strike King Bitsy Bug jig and a 3-inch Pit Boss trailer. That's what my go-to for all year if I'm throwing a jig. Absolutely love those. But that's a staple. You know, moving off of what I've been catching them on to my staples. Jig is good right now, but all year too for smallies, creek fishing, anywhere, lake fishing, pond fishing. Here's something I just got recently. These 4-inch zoom worms. I think they had these at I had to say it, Sportsman's Warehouse. Me and Derek went there. And but these 4-inch zoom worms, finesse black, super salt plus, those in the creek, they're money. They are money. I mean, they're definitely longer than a Ned. You know, a Ned's probably, I don't know, 3-inch. Here's some Neds I got at Walmart. They come with a Ned head, and but these are a staple. These are, if you're fishing creeks, you gotta try these. I just Texas rig them with like a 1/0 and a real small worm hook. You can do bigger hook, but I like the 1/0 just because it's small and light and doesn't affect the, you know, the motion and stuff on it. But yeah, I got these. Excited about these. Some of them that I have gotten before, they're just the normal Ned pack they have. It's not, they're different than this. They're dark colored, but the hook's not very stout. Sometimes that's okay, because if you're fishing the creek and you get hung on something, you're like, crap. It's like, well, I'm not gonna lose this because the hook's gonna bend out. So the hook will bend out, you'll get it off, and then you get your pliers and bend it back. Well, you can only do that a few times, and then you might screw yourself and lose a 3-pound smallie or a big smallie or big, you know, whatever you're catching. So these have a little bit more stout hook on them, which I like, and we're gonna give those a try. So that's one new thing I got. Okay, here's one more. Back to a staple. Me and Derek have gotten into these baits, and I actually got a few given to me from Anglers Hangout, and they sell them individually for like $6-7. So appreciate them guys giving them to me. I started buying them. They worked. So they also they sent me these also. It's like a whopper plopper. It's called Revenge Plopper. And I see a lot of these guys that are painting baits. They'll buy these. The little blades pop out when you after you cast it or whatever, I guess. And then it's like a whopper plopper. But these custom paint guys these are the baits that they'll use. These True Send Revenge Ploppers. But I haven't got a chance to use those yet. I think one's missing because I gave it to Derek. But Anglers Hangout sent me some of these too. These are 3.5 inch. And we've been throwing these off bridges. And we've been using them at Derek's pond. The smallies love them. I don't know a whole lot about smallie fishing. You know, here's what I've probably caught most of my smallies on. My wife got me some of these for, I don't even know, I guess it was my birthday. These are awesome for smallies. These are these dollar Walmart ones. The smallies love that red and yellow in the spring, I'm telling you. The largies do too, but it's really good in the creek. I love these. she got me some purple ones too I've never seen before. Purple and green, maybe a little bit like a bluegill pattern color. It's got the willow leaf blade, but you can't beat those dollar spinnerbaits. But the smallies like those, obviously the choppos, they love the choppos, and that's the funnest thing to catch them on. Choppos or whopper ploppers, and then these things right here, I'm telling you, they are money for smallies. And I like the black choppo. But you know, I don't feel like I'm an expert, but if you use these and a choppo, and then maybe a spinnerbait occasionally, if you know if they're not hitting those other things, and then you know if you want to follow up, if they miss this or the choppo, you know, follow them up with a jig. And one other thing that I want to buy is the Nico crawls, and you can use them with those with the Ned head. You know, I could take a hook out of one of those and put those Nico crawls on there. Mud bug is the color that I think I'm going to buy. They look amazing. Everybody that uses them, they just chuck them out there, and then, oh, I got a smallie on there. It's like, geez, you know, they can't turn it down when they see a crawl. I feel the same way with largemouth too, and that's why I like a jig so much. If you put a crawdad in front of a bass, I mean, it's on. I don't think they could just let it go by. It's like, I don't know what a good comparison would be, but if they see a crawdad, they're gonna want to eat it. You know, they're not just gonna let it go. So, these are like $15 on Amazon. These are the 3.5 inch, and we have just been destroying them on this. I like the one in the middle there on the one side that's like a grayish, but it's got a red tail, and then it's got, I thought I had a little bit of red. Yeah, there's a little bit of red on its lip too, right here, you know, its tail. That's my favorite one. Derek's had a lot of luck on this one with the green, but I like those gray ones the best. I haven't had a lot of luck on the chartreuse. The red might be good and the orange one might be good this time of year. You know how they always say the fish like red stuff this time of year. So you have got to get you some of these. If you fish in a creek, these are an absolute must for me now. I mean, they've become that way in less than a year, because me and Derek have these tied on nonstop. I mean, if we got a pole with these on there, and because we did so good with these, I just bought these, and there's one missing because it's on my pole. It's a yellowish one, but they're starting to fall down a little bit. These are the 4.7 inch. These are the 3.5. I mean, there's a big difference there. They're giant, but guess what? Big baits catch big fish. So we're going with those babies. And same thing was like $16 for 6 baits. You're talking less than $3 a bait. If you lose one, you're like, crap. You know, if it's your favorite color, that kind of sucks. They don't have the gray with the red like that other color I like. But they got some good choices there, and I'm definitely gonna give them a try. I feel like they might be too big for a smallie. I mean, probably not for a big smallie, but anyway, I'm excited about trying those. See what else we got. I like these. I like these for trailers, the Rage Swimmer Strike King. Maybe not as fancy as some of the other things, like a Kitech or something like that, but man, they were good for me. And I don't know if you can tell, this side's got the metal fleck in it, and this other side really doesn't have much of it at all. So I like those. They're like $4 at Walmart. I got these. I think I got these in an order from Tackle Warehouse, but I hear a lot of people talking about. Sorry, I'm getting a notification on here. I'll get that out there. And then another one pops right up. A lot of people are talking about smaller buzz baits, and that they're just doing really good on them. And this is a new bait out by Teckel, and it's called a Blade Walker. And they just look really good. I might have to get one out maybe if I can. But it's a Blade Walker, 1/2 ounce, pearl white and citrus shad. And they just look really good. And, you know, 1/2 ounce, not as big as your traditional buzzbait by any means. Let's see if we can get this one out. I think it's just going to give you that really good action. It's really a, you know, a different style blade there that gives you that little action. But look at that. Got the weedless on it. I mean, I'm excited about that. That's a big old hook too. You're not going to, I mean, you could lose a fish on it because it's so big, but that weed guard helps probably. That's a real fine weed guard. It gives a lot. It's kind of like a bunch of strands of 20-pound test or something. But man, yeah, that looks really good. I'm excited about that. The citrus shad's gonna be awesome looking too. But that may be one where you could get some smallies on something different. A buzzbait where normally you're not gonna throw buzzbait for smallies. But I'm hoping to get out in the kayak this year. And I got a buddy that's wanting to get out on a river, and he does it with his son, I think. And he actually does some scuba diving, and he's like, I know where some holes are. We can stop and fish there. And so I'm excited to try, you know, go do that with him. Here's something else on the Ned line. Missile baits. I may have showed these in another video already, but these are good on, would be good on a Ned head, and they got the little paddle tail. That's kind of a Ned bait. But I'd like to try those when the bite's tough. Just a couple other things I got. I may have already shown these in a previous video too, but I'm looking forward to trying those this year. The power bait, I think it's called the Mike Iaconelli Gilly. You can rig these multiple different ways. If you look up a video on them, I mean, they're really cool looking. I mean, talk about a realistic bait, and it's, you know, you don't have to pay the cost for a swim bait that might cost you $50, you know. But I'm excited to try those. And then I'm trying to think where I got this. Oh, I got this at the Sportsman's Warehouse also. Never even seen one of these in a store or anything. Usually the number 5s, you know, I have to order them online. I can't find them. So this one pond that has a lot of weeds in it, I use these a lot. Not these. I haven't tried this kind yet, but I'll use like a white Meps or the squirrel tail with the number 5 blade. And what I do is I go there when there's a rain, because there's weeds everywhere. It's like, most people are probably thinking this isn't even fishable in the summer. But you get that rain, and then you get a little bit of a gap above the weeds where you got 6 or 8 inches to deal with, and you chuck that Meps across and keep your rod tip up and just reel it across. You know, maybe pause occasionally if you think you're somewhere where there's not a mat underneath of you, but they'll just come up and explode on it. And that and these chatterbaits might be good too. The Guggen Squad click baits. I got some red ones, and I got this one. Just the same type thing where you're keeping it right in that top of that water column above those weeds, and then they're hammering it. And then one more thing here. I got this ultralight popper, Rapala surface popper, ultralight pop. And sorry, I got low battery. I've had a lot of views on my videos with tiny torpedo, ultralight pop. I got a silver one, and I've got a lot of views on that. And then this one, I'm hoping, you know, will be popular too if I can make a video with this at Derek's. You know, his back pond that's got just a million fish in it. They love this kind of crap, and they're eating a ton of frogs. So I think that's going to be a winner over there, and I'm excited to try it. So, and you know, a lot of people must like ultralight stuff because they're all over those videos. You know, one more staple this time of year, and they catch big fish too. Calmer days. I lost my front hook on this, but I've got several of these Rapala rip stops. I'm gonna guess this is a 3.5 inch. These things are money. I've seen some different ones out now too that have the let's see if, yeah, it's got a little bit of rattles on it. But I do the twitch, 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 and this is really good at sitting dead still. And one key, if you get one of these and use it, you want to do your twitch, 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 and then you want to make sure that your line's not tight and you're pulling your bait towards you like that. The tactical bassing guys are like, the fish see that and they just stop. So you want a rod that's got a little give in the tip, a little soft tip, where you twitch, 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 and then it just sits there for a second, and then twitch, 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 and you're not pulling it with you with the line. So if you got a rod that's got some give on it, you're giving the twitch, 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 and it's going back for you, where you're not getting that where it's coming back to you. But man, I love these things. I caught a 6.54 on that 2 years ago at Derek's. So one of my PB, if you look up PB videos, I got a 6.54 at Derek's on that thing. And I mean, God was looking out for me that day, because I did the hooks. I've had the hooks bend out on this. I had another like 5-pounder at Derek's, and one of the hooks bent out on me. You could probably upgrade the hooks on a ripstop if you get one, or make sure you got your drag set where if they want to pull, they can pull line and not bend your hook. But yeah, these things are awesome. Guys, I think that's it. One other staple bait. I broke the thing off of this one, but I've got a video out where it says insane day, insane something, KVD hard knock. But this was the one that I was just dominating on at Corey's, and I was using a popper too. But I got to get another one of these, because man, that was a heck of a day. Probably one of my best videos I got out. But anyway, this, and then I've got one that's red and chartreuse. I think it's red on top, chartreuse on the bottom. And these things are money. I hadn't hardly ever caught any on crankbait and started using them and dominated. But I think that's everything. Here's one more thing I got at Sportsman's Warehouse that I'm excited about. I was trying to make sure I got the name of the place right, but I think it was Sportsman's Warehouse. Me and Corey use these a lot of times this time of year with a bobber, and usually we'll use the Bobby Garlands, but they had these that are power bait, and I thought, heck, might not have to use a crappie bite if you have a body that's already got the power bait scent in it. So I've tried these once, didn't do very good. May have just been the day, I don't know. But I'm excited about these. Crappie, bass, whatever. When the water's cold and they're just, not eating real good, they might eat these if it's sitting right in front of their face. So, something to try if you like crappie fishing and stuff like that. But I think that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging with me and checking everything out. And hope you get out there and catch you some big ones. Later.